Welcome back. We continue with the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. The Steelers have a bye week, which is helpful. One of two teams to have that, and we'll find out afterwards who they play, after next week's wild card. But one thing that happened today, which is interesting, Landry Jones, for the second time in his career, played an entire game, and it was against the Cleveland Browns. Actually, he's done that before, but in this role. My question is, have you guys seen enough of Landry Jones to think that he can handle this for 16 games, Tim Benz? Because who knows? Down the road, that may be one of their options. Is it a good enough option for you?
No, I think Landry's a backup quarterback and maybe a better than average one based on what that means in the National Football League these days. But I wouldn't want Landry Jones to be the starting quarterback of this team, particularly if Roethlisberger retires this year or next. I think you can have a more high pedigree quarterback than that with the rest of the very good talent that will be holding over from the Roethlisberger era. I think he's a very capable backup, but I put that ceiling there. I give him tons of credit for being efficient today. I mean, I was stunned when I went back and looked at the numbers. I didn't feel like he was as good as the numbers presented, but then again, he was also hamstrung by, a third-string center that was snapping the ball like James Harrison used to. I didn't think that would be the first time we'd miss James's snapping ability, but there were so many problems with the shotgun that I think that limited them to a degree. So, again, very nice performance in a backup role, but I prefer to see them go in the free agent market after Ben or have a really good quarterback from this draft class or next ready to go.
I mean, I would say, look, I'm sort of high on Landry. I thought last year he would sign somewhere else to have a shot on a bad team where he could start for a bad team. You look at the talent around him. You look at the fact the defense is young and signed and should be good for the next couple of years. Maybe they can. I think they could win games with Landry considering the talent around him, 24-20 instead of 39-38. I think it's possible. They're not going to win 12 games or 13 with Landry, but can they win 10 games and win the division with Landry Jones at quarterback? I think he's capable enough if he avoids mistakes for them to do that.
Well, I think the other thing is maybe he could be a stopgap for a year while a young guy that you draft, gets ready to play. I don't know if he's a long-term solution. I kind of tend to agree with Tim that he looks more like a backup than a guy you want to be your starter for a long period. But if you bring him in, and you make him a stopgap type of guy, maybe he proves he can do the job. I just don't know. I mean, I think we should relax a little bit. He's played the Browns twice.
All right, I want to talk about James Harrison now. He was in action today, and he played 28 snaps out of 57, came away with 2 sacks, a strip sack included on one of them. And it goes back to what happened this whole week. A lot of drama here. Will, were you surprised, number one, that the Steelers made him available? Number two, the way that he handled it, the way they handled it?
I think they thought, who's going to sign a 39-year-old linebacker that hasn't played all year? Even if it's James Harrison. So I think they cut him thinking if they need him, if somebody gets hurt, they can pick him back up, because who's going to sign James Harrison? I think this was more just like a troll move by the Patriots more than anything else. And James, look, somebody said before the season started, James can't run anymore. He said, you guys look at all the film, you look at all the Instagram, the workout post, all that stuff. You ever see him running? He can't run anymore. I don't think wasn't going to be a difference maker. It sucks the way it ended because he's an all-time great for this franchise, but that's business, right?
Well, Paul, didn't Bud Dupree actually allude to that on your show about James running?
He said he can't run, yeah.
Yeah, I know what, I like to think that it's just a troll move on behalf of the Patriots because that's what they do, but if that's what they were thinking, then they wouldn't have played him as much as they did today. They had a football need for him. I disagree, Will. I think the Steelers darn well knew that the Patriots probably would pick him up knowing their pass rush situation, and I don't think they cared. I think he became such an enormous pain in the backside that they just decided to let him go. I have the feeling something nearly cataclysmic happened this week that forced their hand even further, along with the return of Marcus Gilbert to the active roster. So they decided to let him go, and whether or not he goes somewhere else, be damned.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear, all of the, they're signing him because they want intelligence on the Steelers. To which I would say, why does Brady and Belichick need intelligence on the Steelers defense? They kill it every single time they play it. But the other part of it is, they have a real need for an outside linebacker. Right. They have a real need for a pass rusher. They actually figured that, we'll kick the tires on this guy and see if he can bring something that we actually need. So, to me, I think it was a football decision by the Patriots to bring in somebody who might give them something they need.
By the way, L.J. Fort now with the same number of sacks this season as James Harrison for the Steelers.
Well, no, Harrison had 2.
Yeah. He had 2 today.
I'm talking 3. So that's 3 now with the Eric Fisher sack, too.
If it's against the Jets, I guess maybe I could say a thing against the Browns. I mean, does it really count? Look, he wasn't in effect. It's good. Isn't it a good thing that the Steelers linebackers are good enough that James Harrison does not have to play?
Well, you tell me. Was he still their 3rd best outside linebacker when he left, or do you really think that Moats and Chicolo were better? I'm of the opinion that Harrison was better.
It's a coin flip, and if he's being a pain in the butt in the locker room, get rid of him.
The other part of it is they played him a lot today against the Jets because they got one game.
And they're kicking the tires.
They got basically one game to see if he can fit in and play in their system before they play a game that really matters.
Right. Now, if they do play Kansas City or if they play somebody else, they know that James Harrison for 10 snaps in a playoff game as opposed to however many he played today can be effective.
He had 28 today. He had 10 in that. All he needs is one sack. If he makes one significant play that can change a drive or a game-changing situation, it'll be a win for them. Very interesting how that played out, but he did have 2 sacks today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for our smooth move of the year. So this is the end of the football season for us in terms of calendar year. So let's go around the horn for this week's Smooth Moves, brought to you by Pittsburgh's largest supplier of smoothest granite, marble, and quartz countertops. That's Armina Stone. So we'll begin with you, Will. What's your smooth move of the year?
Look, I'm not one of these guys that gets caught up in this is the best thing that's ever happened. What Antonio Brown has done this season, week in and week out, before he got hurt, I mean, I've never seen anything like that from a receiver. I would include Jerry Rice and Randy Moss in that. I'm not saying he's the greatest of all time, but I'm saying this season, what he did and when he did it, unbelievable. Antonio Brown, my smooth move of the year.
Well, I guess I'll go with the first 6 months of the calendar year, the last half of the hockey season, and I'll say the Penguins goalie combination. That could have gone in any sort of direction, all kinds of wrong, and it couldn't have gone better between Murray and Fleury before Fleury departed. It hasn't gone great for either player in the second half of the year because of Fleury's concussion and the way that Murray's been in and out of the lineup, and some of his goals against numbers and so forth have gone up. But definitely for the first half of the calendar year, nothing paid more dividends than those two as a tandem.
Well, we talked about the Steelers helping their pass defense by putting more pressure on quarterbacks, and we had a defense that set the all-time team record for sacks. Not just today, but I mean this season they have, 56 sacks. That, to me, is a big development for the Steelers because, again, they give up a lot of big plays, but they're able to stop drives because they can get the quarterbacks.
Those are the smooth moves of the year, presented by Armina Stone. Check them out, and you can get the smoothest granite countertops, marble countertops, right with their stone gallery of granite, all from all over the world to your countertops. That's Armina Stone and the smooth moves. Something I did not provide right there. We'll be right back.